Hi everyone, this is the third video for section 4.1. So in this video, we're going to talk about strategies to help you round to compatible numbers. Because rounding to compatible numbers may not always seem intuitive to you. It may be a little bit difficult to figure out, well, which number should I round to? So we're going to talk about that. So we are told in this example to estimate the product of 43 and 24 by rounding to compatible numbers as indicated. So this first part A, tells us to round both numbers up. So what I'm going to do here to round both numbers up is I'm just going to round them up in the tens place. Although you may see these numbers and think, well, yeah, I just want to round up to 45 and 25, right? Because those are close and those are nice multiples of 5. Round to numbers that you can multiply in your head. 45 and 25 are still pretty hard for me to multiply in my head. So if you can do it in your head, that's great. But this point of estimation is rounding to numbers that you can multiply in your head. So in order to round both factors up, I'm going to say, okay, what if I round this first one to 45 and the second one to 30? Okay, what am I going to get then? Because we rounded them both up and one of them is a multiple of 10. So it's a little bit easier to multiply. So if we round it to 45 times 30, this is going to be 1350. And on the other hand, if we round this first factor to 50 and the second one to 25, this is going to be 1250. So in any case, these are pretty similar, but one of them is lower. So this is just, we can think of this as, well, we know that the product we're getting is definitely less than this one because we rounded both of the numbers up. Okay, so now we're going to try and round both factors down. So the easiest way to round both of these down is to take 43 to 40 and 24 to 20. So if we do 40 times 20, we're going to get 800. So again, because we rounded both of these factors down, we know that, well, the product has to be more than 800 because we rounded them both down. But this is a really big range, right? So this has a range of 450 if we're just looking at 800 to 1250. So that's a really big range. So let's see what happens when we round one factor up and one factor down. So just like with rounding both factors up, we can kind of choose how we do this. So if we round 43 up to 45, and if we round 24 down to 20, we get 900. Or if we choose to round 43 down to 40 and 20 up to 25, here we will get 1,000. So again, these are pretty close. So essentially what we want to see is what is closest to the correct answer. And so in this first question, it says that the product of 43 and 24 is 1032. So which of these techniques produces the closest estimate? So we can see that objectively, the closest answer that we got to 1032 is 1,000, right? That we did right here. So this is the closest estimate, right? Objectively, this is the closest estimate. So how did we get there? We rounded one factor up and one factor down. And this is actually always going to work if you think about it in terms of area. So if we think about it in terms of area, let me kind of draw a big box here. So if this is 43 and this is 24. So what happens if we round them both up? So if we rounded to 45, we would have something like this. If we rounded to 30, we would have something like this. So this is if we have 45 and 30, it's clearly going to be too big, right? But 45 is clearly going to be too big, but it doesn't seem like that would be horribly too big by too much. Okay, what happens if we round both factors down? So if we round this to 40, and if we round this to 20, right, this is definitely too small. Okay, so now let's look. I'm going to draw a similar box. So what happens when, this is 43 and 24, what happens when we round one up and one down? So that closest example was, I'm going to use a different color here. So we had 40 and 25. So to get 25, we look like this. And to get 40, it looked like this. So this is 40 and 25. Or if we did 45 and 20, it would look, let's look crooked. $45 and 20 would look like this. So you can see that these look like they're a better estimate because the area that we can only see, right, the blue area is too big. So this blue is too big. The red is too small. But you can see with this purple and this green that it increases a little bit and decreases a little bit. And so this one seems like it would be a much closer estimate. Okay, so this is how we can kind of see if we're trying to get a more accurate estimate of multiplication, that we can round one number down and one number up. And this argument works for every problem, that this would be a more accurate representation. So this one seems, right. So the green and purple seem like they would be a closer estimate. So that's all for this discussion on compatible numbers and multiplication, and that's all for this video.